My first mentor in football was my father. He was a coach in North Philadelphia, and he used to always tell me, "It's not your Johnnies, and it's not your X's and O's, it's your Johnnies and your Joes." And he coached at Olney High School. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but they have to play their games at parks during the school day, and they don't tell anybody where the game's going to be at because there'll be shootings. If they do it on a Friday night at a high school, someone might be dead. So they'll pick a park somewhere in the city, and I'll call the other school and say, tomorrow at Fairmount Park at 10 a.m. And they get buses, you know, during second period, and they go and they play. And he just retired, and I grew up in Philadelphia. Give a little background, and went to Westchester University and was a Division II guy. 5'8" white guys. That's where they go. And played against Delaware every year, and everybody ran Delaware wing tee, and that's all I knew. My first coaching job was right out of high school. Right out of college. There was no teaching jobs. If you wanted a teaching job in Pennsylvania at the time, they'd wait for someone to die, and then you had to carry the body out, and then maybe you got on the interview list if you helped them. And so I realized there wasn't much opportunity. I got a job at Valley Forge Military Academy. I don't know if you're familiar with it. That's where the movie Taps was filmed. It's a big deal, and they had two football. There was a junior college and a prep team, and it's a little different than junior college or prep out here. If you graduated high school, you played on the junior college team, and if you didn't graduate high school, you played on a prep team. And you played up to your 20th birthday. So we played a prep league, and right when I got hired, we only had 1 week before school started, and all the kids lived on campus, obviously. And week before season, all the kids would come in, and week before school, and they all live in the dorms. You don't know who you're going to get. We had 1 week of practice. The offensive coordinator left that week, and the head coach said, "Well, you can run the offense." So I said, "Okay." So all I knew was Delaware wing tee. We basically ran basics. I don't even know what it was. I was 22 years old. It's like sweep right, sweep left, and Tyrone go deep. And we ended up being 11-0. I thought I was a genius until I realized that our quarterback ended up being a 3-year starter at Penn State at fullback. Our two guards both played in the NFL. And I thought I was a genius. So the winter of Valley Forge moved me out to California. It wasn't as tough as George Washington. And I had $400 in a backpack, and I stayed on a buddy's couch in Pasadena. My first coaching job out here was at Loyola High School. My head college coach knew Steve Grady out here, and I interviewed Steve Grady. He offered me a JV job and $14,000 a year to teach health. And I thought that was great. I had a night class at CSUN, and the head coach at Glendale High was in the night class with me, and he said, "Hey, you coach football?" And I was like, "We're talking about football." And he said, "Well, I'm the head coach at Glendale. Come down and take a look." And anyone familiar with Glendale High School? It's a beautiful campus, huge school. There were 4,000 kids there at the time. It was a track meet, and I walked at the track meet because the head coach at the time, Ted Clark, was reffing shot put, judging shot put. And there's just amazing athletes all over the place, just running around. Like I never saw anything like it in my life. Showed me around the school. Set up an interview with the principal. The principal said, "We have a PE job open. Do you coach anything else?" I said, "Yeah, I can coach wrestling and lacrosse." And he said, "We don't have wrestling. What the hell's lacrosse?" He's like, "Go to human resources. You're good." I walk out on the field, and he said, "The kids are out there. Why don't you go and introduce yourself?" And I'm standing there waiting. There's a bunch of middle school Bulgarian kids playing soccer, running around or something, and I don't know what's going on. And head coach walks out and says, "Hey, did you meet the kids?" I said, "Where's the football team?" "That is the football team." And I said, "Where's the varsity?" "That is the varsity." It was all 5'8" Armenians. So when I moved out to California, I thought I'd be at Baywatch, but I was at Beirut. And so I really learned how to coach real well there, and I took over the program in a couple of years, and we were playing. So I was asking, well, what are those big, fast black guys running around? "Oh, you'll see them again. That's John Muir High School in Pasadena. They just won a national championship in track, and they win our league every year. You'll see them week 9. Don't worry about those guys." So bounced around for a while, different schools. I was at Pasadena City College, and that's when I really learned like how to coach. My mentor there was a guy named Tom Marr, and he was basically the offense coordinator for a few decades at Mount Sac, when Mount Sac was kicking everybody's butt. He really taught me about the passing game. In Pennsylvania, they took the air out of the ball so we wouldn't fumble it. So we didn't throw that much, and so I learned about the passing game. And I learned that I definitely didn't ever want to coach junior college, because you have to be a used car salesman and a prison warden together, and it's a big mess. But I learned a lot about the game, and we took that offense, me and a couple coaches, and we embraced it, and we learned a lot about it. In 2001, it was the #1 offense in the nation. 3 All-Americans in junior college. 3 guys went to the pros, and the offense really stood the test of time. He's been very successful with it, and we always said if one of us gets a head job, we'll hire the other guys and we'll run it. And I was really fortunate to get a job at Bassett High School in La Puente. I know you're familiar with that area, but that was like Beirut too, with the guns and the bombs and explosions. But it's a rough neighborhood, and the kids were 1 in 19, and we brought a college mentality. We brought the fast-paced practice, and we brought that offense to them. And the first game, we scored more offensive points in that first game than they did the whole previous season. We scored 43 points on offense against Norwalk, and we had a trick play called the forward pass. And it worked out real well, and we were real excited, and we did really well there. And we were pretty set in the offense. It was #1 offense in San Gabriel Valley for those 2 years. And we took the same offense to Cantwell. We're very fortunate there. That's what the whole point of what I'm going to talk about today is that when I got to Cantwell, the guys that heard me speak at the Wyatt Clinic about, was it, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I was basically talking about this offense could be awesome, it could set in stone, it could be what you believe in, it's what you hang your hat on, but every once in a while you're going to have to make an adjustment, things aren't just working. And my first year at Cantwell, we were 1 and 4 running this offense that was the #1 offense in San Gabriel Valley the year before. I was coached the Hall of Fame game, and we had a running back that went 2,400 yards, and I take it to Cantwell, and we can't move the ball. And I always, as joke with my coaching staff was, well, if we can't run this offense, we're going to run double wing. It's a joke. You know what I mean? We're just going to run double wing and screw these guys, and we're just going to, you know, we yell and threaten the kids, you know, hope you receivers love down blocking, because that's all you're going to do. And so we always kind of joked and threatened about it, and we put the double wing in my first year at Cantwell, and we won the last 5 games. And that's why I spoke about the clinic, and I showed a video just compare and contrast. And sure enough, I got an opportunity now at Citrus Valley High School in Redlands. You probably haven't heard of it because they opened the doors in September. It's an area that's loaded with talent. It's the next high school over had 7 Division I scholarships. Wow. Just last season. One guy was in the paper, a guy named Tyler Sharif was their quarterback. I don't know if you heard about that, but he got kicked out of school. He punched his baseball coach in the face and jumped him. It was about a month ago. So it gives you an idea of you know, the deal over there. And when I found out I was interviewing for the job, it was this time last year, and Harold Strauss and Rick Ray were sitting in the back of the clinic last year. And I know that they were in the league with Redlands and all those guys, and I asked Harold Strauss, I said, well, what do you know about this new school? And he said, you know, it's going to be a nice campus, it's going to be pretty decent, but he said the thing is, if you get a chance to interview at the Redlands School District, go for it, because that's one of the best school districts in the Inland Empire, and they really believe in academics, and they do things the right way, and there'll be a lot of talent. So I didn't think I would get the job, but I did. And when I interviewed for the job, they told me, well, you're going to have just freshmen and sophomores, it's a brand new school. I understood, you know, there's a lot of new schools that are opening up, and you're going to play a varsity schedule. And I really thought they were joking, but we played a varsity schedule. We had 2 games that we played teams that were freshmen and sophomores just like us. And other than that, it was a struggle. We took the same offense I was just telling you guys about, the Pasadena City College offense that was so great at Cantwell. You know, we ran that the last 4 years at Cantwell and did tremendously well. And we ran it at PCC, we ran it at Bassett, we did really well. And And same thing, we had a hard time, and we came in the same situation. In week 5, we had to change it up. And well, so I remember the clinic, I was here last year and talking to Coach Strauss, and we tried some stuff, so definitely need to hit the next slide. So this is our school's philosophy. It's a great philosophy. I got the job basically because what the principal was looking for, someone that believes in character development and building a program and doing all things right, and not so much your wins and losses. You know, I came from Campbell is what, Division 10, small school, and this was a big time job. You know, we're going to be in the top division in Inland Valley and Inland Valley Division, but this is kind of what got me through, and that's what the principal believes in, and we have great kids there. Let's see what's next. I don't even remember. Oh, here's the situation of the school. This is our stadium. It wasn't built when I got there. It was a picture. That's all it was. so they were like, "Yeah, it's going to be a great school someday," and it was literally dirt where the stadium is, and I got to the school, and they were like, "Well, there's nowhere for you to practice. There's a middle school down the road called Clement Middle School, and you'll meet the kids there." And there's 120 sophomores that came out for football. So there's 120 kids that I didn't know their names, I didn't know anything about them, they didn't know me. We met at a junior high, which is basically a public park, and we didn't get the best of all the kids. The kids that are really talented in the district stayed at the other schools, either Redlands East Valley or Redlands. So maybe we had 3 or 4 kids that even played freshman football the year before. So you guys talked about, you know, starting off from scratch, like with your guys, exactly what we were doing. And then we ended up having 120 more freshmen come a week later, so about 240, 250 kids that we had really started from the basics. And we had no locker rooms. It was a mess. We'll go through it as we go through. This is it now. They built the stadium, but we're not out on it yet because they haven't finished it, so we're still not out there.
Where did you play your games at?
We played at Redlands High School.
Oh, okay.
We played at Redlands High School.
It was a nice field.
It was a really nice field. It was a really nice field. So this, you can tell I'm not really an organized guy, so I'm just throwing stuff at you. This was the offense we ran. This is the formation we ran. We ran a little pistol because our center would just get driven back every time, like as soon as he snapped the ball. I mean, as soon as the center was the only sophomore that played in the varsity schedule. Everyone else on the line, including the tight end, were all freshmen. They were playing against seniors and juniors. So it was a mess. I mean, just imagine getting out there and, you know, we just ran power, counter, toss, and trap. If you look at this first page, this is our first game against Patriot, and this is how, you know, we didn't have any film on them, but we knew what front and coverage they ran, so what I would do is I just draw up the plays and blocking assignments, and the whole point of it is that when we added the single wing, it's the same exact blocking, and that's what made my little deal unusual, is that we didn't have time to do a whole install of doing off-balance single wing and do the splits. So if you click again, Coach. So this is what I was telling you before. This is Pro Y offense. It was number 1 offense in the nation in junior college. In Bassett in 2002 and actually 2003. We're undefeated league champs. We had 3,500 plus rushing, 2,000 yards passing, and our running back. We'll show you a little video at 11.9 yards a carry. At Campbell. You guys saw a little video at Bassett when that running back was really good. And then this same place. And then at Campbell, if you click the slide, these are all the school records we broke the 5 years we were there. Most points in a season. In 2007, we had 458 and 398. I don't know if you guys can see it. Scored 65 points against Stanley Murphy, and we had 7 sophomores score. We pulled all our seniors and juniors out. And their offense, was about 3,000 yards, 3,700 in 2008, and 3,400 in 2005. We had 3,400. And the rushing yards are there, and so these are all the school records since the school opened in 1949 that we broke, running a regular Pro Y offense. Quarterback at 22 passes, TD passes, and how'd you guys do, and how they look in the scrimmage when you guys scrimmage?
Decent.
Decent, yeah.
Yeah.
The quarterback transferred to a public school.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that we had. So Alright, so it's an easy switch. I can't do any animation, but I was trying to do some animation. But all we did was we just we took our quarterback out, and you'll probably see why if you see the film. And we just ran kind of like a wildcat split here, and we put our V here, and we brought our Z in, and we just ran our same plays. We just ran the same exact blocking. Nothing changed for the linemen at all. We didn't change the splits. We didn't change any lineman calls. We just added some spin, and we took out quarterback and added an extra back. And if you'll see on our highlights, our uniforms are black with gold helmets, and we had 2 AVACs, so the kids called it Duracell. Because it's double A. So this is our first day of pads in school history, and then we're finally at the school, and we're at a practice field because it's raining full of dirt. And if you click it, well, I think if you go back, click the video, it might play. I hope.
Where?
Go to just where that picture was that you just had, and I think if you click on it, I think the video will play. I'm not sure. It might have to be like in a presentation mode or something.
Yeah, I might be able to get that. I can get the video.
Okay.
Coach, what year did you have that kicker? That he was a really good kicker, and then you found out he could run, and you'd hand him the ball. And
Oh, right. That was at Bassett.
yeah, Bassett.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our pro eye stuff, and we call it bull, view back left, and we want him right. We call it bear, and the tight end's right. And I think this is a counter. And this is the first day in pads. These are freshmen and sophomores. It's just like your stuff. Just everybody blocks down, and we pull the backside and lead up through, and the fullback replaces for the pulling guard. And it was like my bread and butter play. And obviously, these are kids that never really played football before. So the whole point of this is when we go to the single wing film, you'll see it's exactly the same blocker, and nothing really changed. Okay, and here's the change. So we started off the season, and it was freshmen and sophomores versus varsity guys. So week 1, we had 38 yards of rushing. We played Patriot High School. This is you throw up everything you want on a piece of paper, but it ended up being 38 yards for us, and we had 2.7 yards of carry. We ended up winning that game because they had forfeited an ineligible player. So they had to put in, to beat us, I guess they had to put them in, I guess. It's 48-0. That was the first game any of those kids ever played a varsity football game. And second game we had 97 yards rushing, 6.4, and that was against Area Christian. But we still were horrible. We couldn't move the ball at all. I don't think we got a rushing first down. Then, game 3 was 52 yards. Then we're at 35 yards, and then we had a big game here at 95 yards rushing. So if you guys, it's pretty bleak. So we were 3.6 yards of carry. So we needed to change. The kids' attitude was great. I mean, the kids know what they're getting into. They're sophomores playing varsity schedule, and they didn't really get down on themselves. The coaches, it was tough for us. I mean, obviously, you guys were just competitive as anyone else, and it was hard to deal with. And we knew that to stay alive and protect our kids, that we had to run the ball to eat up the clock. I mean, throwing the ball, our quarterback was just getting crushed, and we need to eat up the clock. And I just was thinking about doing double wing, but to do double wing, I would have to change the splits and change some of the blocking and go through the whole thing. And like I said, we have 4 freshmen on the line playing varsity football. 4 freshmen playing against seniors and juniors. So we didn't want to change anything for them. So we said, well, we'll just add the extra back, spin it a little bit, and maybe put an extra blocker in, and it was amazing what happened. We had a lot of great results, and I think, next slide, I'm not sure if it might be a video or it might be another slide. Okay, so we switched to single wing. In the first game, we had 210 yards rushing. That was against Sage Hill. And we had a rushing touchdown and a couple of rushings, got a couple of first downs. We're back to 96, I forget who that was, it was someone pretty good. And 226, and then 433 one game, and that was the game we played against the sophomore team. So play kids your own age, you might have a shot. We went up 41-21. Kids were excited. And then the last game was against Oak Hill. We only had 410, but 6.3 yards a carry, and it's because of the misdirection in the backfield. And I'll show you guys some video on that.
Oak Hill's a good team. They went to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're very good. They played Grace Brethren in the playoffs.
They were undefeated during the regular season.
They're undefeated. Their situation was a little different than ours. When they scheduled us, they said, we're just going to have sophomores. So we scheduled the game, and it turns out they had juniors, and all the juniors they had was a starting JV team from the year before. They had a back that was 230 pounds. That's legit. Their linemen averaged 280, and they're a very good program. And they didn't have a problem running the score up on us. So we didn't really, they kept all their starters in. When they did take their starters out in the fourth quarter, we went from our 20 to their 20, and they put all their starters back in. And so they got a big feather in their cap. They beat us 61-0. So that was good for them. And there's another school, Aquinas did the same thing. They did onside kicks. They had a New Year first-year coach at that school, young guy, and they beat us 74-0. A bunch of sophomores, 74-0. So I think they got a lot out of that. I guess what they got out of that.
This is a video.
I think if you click it from the
I can play it though.
you can play it from there, and then you'll see the single wing. I showed this to. It might be better if there's a file. Oh, that's good. You just want to pause it for a second. I'll preface it. Just pause it for a sec. All right. So all these guys at the center are freshmen. This is, the wing back was our Z receiver. He didn't carry the ball once up to the sixth game. The last 5 games, he became our leading rusher. The quarterbacks are both running backs. These are all sophomores, and the receiver's a sophomore. And this is against Sage Hill, and they're seniors and juniors. And you can see the timing's real off. This is the first game we're running it. And the splits are real wide. Because we obviously didn't want to change anything for the linemen. And you can see we went into a 2-point stance. The reason being is we did everything on go, on first down. And then what we usually did was we'd snap our hands down on go if it's on 1. So we turn on 2-point stance just to get an edge.
When you did that, Coach, how often did the other team was going?
It worked out really well for us when the other team was worried about us, but we realized it was better for us to go and go because the other teams just weren't firing off the ball. They didn't have to because they would just drive us back. So in other schools it helped us a lot. You know, it's not the hand down on go. Didn't really have much of an effect. We used to do a lot of moves and shifts to get teams off balance, but it didn't make a difference when teams knew they were just going to tee off on a bunch of sophomores and freshmen.
What made you do just timing that you did the inside handoff to the wing back?
What made me do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've seen most people do it on the outside.
Right, I don't know any difference. So, I mean, I literally drew it in the dirt as desperation on this Saturday afternoon. Like everything you see me do here, it's just stuff that I didn't even. It was from my notes in single wing clinics or just Googling it like that Saturday. You know, before I put it in, and I know there's books inside. I have a book.
Was this the first touchdown you guys scored?
This is the first. No, we did score against Pacific High School. We scored on a screen like week 3. But if you look at the kids' expression, you would think it was. That was our first touchdown run in this offense. And the kids, you know, the teenagers, they buy into it. They're like, "This stuff works, coach." You know what I mean? You know, it's great, and we love it. You know, and it's well, sooner or later we're gonna have to score a touchdown. And I think the plays, I mean, we'll go through the plays, but they're all the basic same plays. Weak side power, right here. This is against Marietta Mesa, and they're freshmen and sophomores too. Team agree. They're a pretty good team. We were up 21-6 at half, and they have a really good passing game. And we had a DB that bounced off his chest into a receiver and he scored, and then they beat us on a 2-point conversion with 14 seconds left. And this is our end over. You guys talked about unbalanced. This is our easy fix to run unbalanced. Our tight end couldn't catch anyway, so we just covered him up. Number 19, he'll be a tackle next year. So number 2 became our leading rusher. Just running. That's the only play we ran. That's the only play. We only ran that one formation.
You always run that inside.
And always ran it inside. And just because we didn't know any different, I just thought since the quarterback was spinning, it was just more natural to have him do a full spin. I didn't know you could do another way.
I was even referring to having him run like a C gap on the counters.
Yeah.
Trying to
Oh,
get
inside. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Inside.
Because what it was our 27 counter play.
Okay.
It was our pro-eye counter that you saw us run in practice that first day.
Right.
So we just ran it to the other side. It seemed we didn't change the blocking at all. 55 is a freshman, 19 is a freshman. And we needed the misdirection and we needed the extra blocker.
What's the step where you see the one back lifting up his footwork? Because I don't see anybody going in motion.
Right
Oh,
there.
there.
Yeah, it's motion to
Okay.
wing.
Back.
Okay, I can't see it.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it from when you're looking at the end zone.
Yeah,
I couldn't
and
see it.
that's because that's what we did in regular offense. So we just did the same thing. And this kid was so happy. This number 2. I mean, he literally caught 3 passes before this until we put him in the wing, and you know, and that's all we ran. We just ran it same play. We ran power strong, power weak, counter to the power strong to the right, counter weak to the left. We ran this kind of sweet thing. It's not even sweet because they didn't want to get outside. They were scared.
As the season progressed, did you ever have to start influence blocking or anything like that?
We didn't do anything because they're so young. We didn't change anything. We just got as good as we could running those 5 plays. So I mean, it shows a lot of things that we're going to try to do next year, and that's why I'm here today, to learn some more stuff from you guys. But I really like what it did for us. It gave that spin was great. Kids like the kids love the direct snap because they see the Wildcat in the NFL. And they think it's really great. And it's the same play. You know, we ran those 5 plays just as they're drawn up. This is Shadow Hills and Indio. They're freshmen and sophomores too. And just get tired of looking at the same play over and over again, but it works for us. But it was the same counter play we ran before. We just added this spin and give it to a third back. Number 19, to give you an idea, is 6'4", 220. Give you an idea of the size of the kids, but I mean, they're little babies. 28 is like 11 flat 100-meter guy. You see the cheap shot right there? Mm-hmm. And then number 4, who's kind of like my only kind of thug type kid, who's like the nicest kid we had. He retaliates, I think, on this play, and I sat him out the rest of the game. He retaliates right there. See number 4? And that was his last play. We sat him after that. I always tell you, they always see the second one, you know?
You pulling both guards on that, or is that guard tackle?
Yeah, it's a guard tackle. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the old counter gap.
It's the old counter, it's the old Redskins counter
counter
trick.
gap,
Yeah. So here are the plays here, and I just pulled these out because to show you, they kind of contrast. Like Patriot Week 1, we ran, you know, the Pasadena City College offense, and these are the plays and blocking. These are the list of plays here. And then the first game, Sage Hill, which is the second page. I drew up the plays, and we only ran them. These are the only plays we ran. We only ran power to the right. We ran 17 power to the left, and then 26 pike. I have an old guy that's on my staff who ran single wing. He was single wing tailback when he was in high school. And he told me that's when football was dangerous and sex wasn't. And he's like, we got to run the tandem block. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we got to run this tandem block. It's great. I think, didn't you run something like that, Coach? Like with your guard, and the one right here, it says 26 pike, where you have the guard and the fullback go hip to hip and kick out.
Yeah, but not like that one.
Not like that, but
yeah.
So his last name is Pike, so we called the play 26 Pike. I didn't know what he was talking about. So I was like, oh, we'll try that. And it worked out pretty good. We lost, our whole basis on the pro offense was we always double team the second man in on the line of scrimmage. So this is the only play that we didn't, and we just double teamed the kick out. And it helped us a lot because a lot of the bigger teams, we just could never get the kick out with the fullback by itself. And the guard and the fullback are hip to hip. And they really make some really key blocks. There's some here on here that were big. And we still pulled the backside, and then we ran the 17 power row, where it's just a weak side power, down, 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 kick out, a lot what Coach had done. And then we tried the spin 16 power row, and I think that's what Ted just showed, something like that. I think on today's video, and that didn't really work out that well for us. I thought it would be a bigger play for us. I don't think there's one on the highlights. The sweep was pretty good, so we need to get the other back the ball sometimes. So we just ran that 28 sweep. And one of the plays here, it happened real fast, and it was you could do it, but we did the direct snap to the fullback and ran the trap, and that was like a 15-yard gain on one of the plays. And it worked really well. And if you see their center, he was the only sophomore we had on the line. Everybody else was freshmen, so he was not great at doing he was good at doing the pistol snap. He had confidence in it, but just because we ran the spin, he was really nervous about it, shooting straight back and not to anybody. So you see on the video, his head's down, he has two hands on the ball, so we really work on that to keep his head up. And Coach Bray from Colton was at my school on Thursday, and he's given my staff clinics on how to run single wing. We're going to run it just like Colton next year. And he had some ideas of having the kids snap into a lawn chair. You know, so it's like a nice little touch. And he said something about fishing nets. You hear about this one, like the fishing nets, and then put them in the ground so the kid.
That was Coach Davis's, right?
What's that?
You did that, right, Tom?
Yeah, we said with the ground what we did was, I got this contraption made with, if you get someone in a metal shop, makes a little square thing with a pipe coming in the center, that way you can just move it around.
Yeah, you can move it around and not have it something
And then
dangerous.
put it up against the fence, that way when the ball misses, you have something to bounce off.
That's a great idea. That's even better. It's even better, and you would have to get a nice touch on it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. And so these plays out worked really well for us. You can see by the video that yeah.
Coach, how did your wedge work with them splits?
That's a good question. When we ran the pro offense, the pro eye offense, you know, the offset eye. I like your coach's shirt on the back. It says more than beats the eye. It kind of is true about this. We would do slight adjustments in our splits. We would say if someplace if we're going to sweep to the outside, we tighten our splits, and we call it trout for tighter. And if we're going to widen our splits for inside runs, we call it whale for wider. And so we always play with the splits a little bit. And so just on the wedge, we cheat a little bit now and then, you know. And most teams didn't really pick it up. Yeah, you can't run it with 2-foot splits. You know, I mean, what we did end up doing was with that was we would cheat in a lot, you know, and they would move it. But because of the backfield action, teams never really picked up on it. That, you know, they're still looking in the backfield because no one that we played ever saw this before. So we're really fortunate. And we were freelance this year, and we're going to be in a league next year, a brand new league called the Mountain Valley. And it's going to be Rim of the World, Manning, Rubidoux, Europa Hills, which is in Europa Hills, it's a brand new school in Fontana, Notre Dame Riverside. So none of those schools play anybody that plays single wings. So it's going to help us out a lot. Any questions on any of these plays? I brought both things because I'm trying against a 50 and a 40. But like I said, I mean, this is me just taking my offense and just adding the spin and adding the wildcat to it. And it helped us out a lot. Just the extra backer, the change of direction helped a lot, the misdirection. Our defense, guys, we stand on the other side and it's like, Coach, we don't have to put out the ball. You know, and that helped give confidence to our offense. You know, they're like, hey, you know, we have a little secret weapon. We can do something like this. So, we'll have juniors next year. So, you know, we told the kids, you know, hey, we're gonna have juniors next year. And one of the players raised his hand. He said, Coach. I said, yeah. He said, where are the juniors coming from? So it gives you an idea of what kind of kids I'm dealing with. They're just young. They're good kids, but they're real young. They're babies, and they're big. There's some big bodies. We didn't have a weight. We didn't lift a weight for the season. We didn't have a weight room, so we were just weight room wasn't built yet. So we just did body lifts and stuff like that. So now we have about 15 guys that are cleaning over 225. We about 15 to 20 guys that are squatting over 3 plates. These guys, they lifting 405. So you're in the weight room and a little bit of confidence. And I got 55 returning lettermen. No one graduated. A couple kids got kicked out. And everybody's coming back. And I'm working really well with Coach Bray, who I think is going to get the Colton job next week. He's up for it. And then you guys heard about the whole situation was Harold Strauss resigned to stay as the AD. And you know the whole story?
Don't know the whole story.
Oh yeah, the whole, and then everybody thought Bray would get the job. Well, Don Markham is a teacher on campus in Colton, and he took the Rialto job. But once he found out the Colton job was open, he put in for that. There's a rule in the district called the Rialto rule that if you're a teacher on campus, you have the rights, basically the rights to the job after the interview. And so that's when Strauss reapplied because nobody wanted Markham to take it there, and Markham just got in trouble in the paper. He had to resign from his teaching job and from Rialto coaching. Was it Thursday?
I seen it last night.
Thursday.
I punched. I think it was.
Yeah. So looks like Coach Bray was a great guy. He's probably gonna get the coach job. Pretty good. So he's been helping us out a lot. And if you do get a chance to go to their practices, they do let you on the field. We didn't go to the playoffs, obviously. And that whole week, my whole staff went, and we walked on the field. Our kids my coaches were in every drill. They were standing right there on the sidelines. You know, at the game against Don Lugo, and they're really, really good guys. And they run this stuff pretty well. I mean, a lot better than I drew it up. And I learned a lot from them, and we're really going to work with them either way and try to get some ideas from what they do. Running this offense, and I really love it. It's helped us out a lot. It was easier to make that transition from my base offense than it was when I put the double wing in. You know what I mean? It was easier to add, and you're going to mess with the splits and try to run it a lot better. So that's pretty much all I have. If there's any questions? Yes?
Yeah, Coach, maybe not on this topic, but you said that you're a motivation guy. Could you speak on maybe 1 or 2 things that you find you're successful at to motivate your players to get the most out of them?
I think a lot of it is how you treat them. You know, you treat kids with a lot of respect. I've been very successful just not trying to imitate my school head coach, not trying to imitate my father. You know, I just really relate with them really well, more of a player's coach, and I think that once that you show the kids that you respect them, you do anything for them, they'll respect you back, and they're going for you, and you get a lot more out of it. And I think another thing with these kids is that there used to be a thing about some guys are kicking the butt guys, some guys are patting the back guys, and you got to figure out which that kid is, like being a psychiatrist. I think most of the kids nowadays, you have to massage their egos and you have to pump them up and you have to give them a lot of confidence. I don't think too many guys are kicking the butt guys anymore. We run a consistent, fair program. We're based on character, and we're based on working hard in the classroom and being a good community member, and all those core values are really important. And then when you try to teach them all that stuff and you come around and cuss at them and yell at them, it gives them a real bad, they don't believe you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you tell them to be a good kid and not mess around in the classroom, and you're screaming and yelling. So I think treating them well is really, really good. It was tough this year with just freshmen and sophomores. We just had to kind of put things in perspective and just keep it positive. You know, and tell them, you guys got a free year of varsity football. All your friends that didn't want to come over to the school that were supposed to are probably playing JV or sitting on the bench in varsity. So you got a free year. And, it worked out real well. So that's been my biggest motivation. There's no tricks, I don't think. Just, treat them well.
All right, we can
All
roll
right,
it.
good, thanks guys.